Good morning. This is Tim Kendrick. We're with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty AZ here in the Phoenix metro area. I'm here with my good friend and buddy, known you for 15 years now?
At least.
Tony Scardina, who is a sales rep for Security Title. I had to read his shirt.
That's right.
So I had my script up. So anyway, Tony's been my go-to guy for title issues and real estate, just general real estate questions for years now. And anytime I run into a weird one, the first thing I do is call Tony, and he never knows the answer, but he always knows somebody that does.
I got a guy.
He's got a guy. There you go. So anyway, so Tony, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company and what you do, and have at it.
Okay, here we are. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Again, like Tim said, I'm Tony Scardina with Security Title. I've been in the business now about, let's call it 25 plus years, and I've known Tim and Gail for probably more than 3/4 of that time. That being said, what Tim said is true. We don't always have the answers. We don't always have good information, but we have resources to get that information. And I'd like to say that I'm the guy that you go to when you get that.
So let's talk a little bit about when you say title insurance. What's the difference between title insurance and regular homeowners insurance?
Well, title insurance is similar to your homeowner's insurance in the way of if there was ever a problem, you would approach us, we would then check it and then pay out whatever the
Okay,
wrong was. But let me explain how that works.
Okay, well,
Your homeowner, go ahead.
Let me interrupt you here.
Okay.
So I think if I understand title insurance, the difference between homeowners insurance and title insurance, you're ensuring that the title of the property does not get encroached on by outside forces in most cases. Is that not correct? I misunderstand that?
That part, that's one of the things it covers.
Yeah. So if my house burns down, do I have title? Does my title insurance cover that?
No, that's your homeowner's
Okay,
insurance.
see, that's what I need. So,
Yeah.
so talk a little bit about the difference between those two.
Okay. So homeowner's insurance is going to cover you. Let's say if I tripped and fell, if I was walking my dog and I tripped over something in your yard.
And sued you.
Yeah, and sue
Okay.
you. Yeah, your homeowner's is going to cover that.
Hopefully.
Now, let's say your neighbor wants to build a fence.
Right.
And he is sure that the property line is right over there, and he builds that fence and you check. And that fence is in your yard. Well, that's where the homeowners doesn't cover, but the title insurance does. They're going to come out and say, that's not your property.
Yeah.
You're going to have to correct
A
that.
regular homeowner's policy is going to say, we don't care, not our problem.
Not our problem.
Okay, see, that's what I wanted to get to.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest question I get is I get a lot of people
Why do
saying,
I need this?
I've got homeowners insurance. Why do I need title insurance? So
That's
there
right.
you go. Okay.
Yeah, the title insurance is exactly how it sounds. It covers the title and all the durable information regarding you in the ownership of the property.
Okay, and I'm going to take that back one further step. When you're in the purchase process and you're in escrow, I know you guys do a title search.
We do it. That's one of the things we do.
One of the things that you do, but one of the things I do know you do is you do a title search and you look specifically for liens.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that the title insurance also covers. So talk a little bit about that.
So let's say you're the previous homeowner and you've had work done on your property, which you have done.
Right.
And maybe you didn't pay one of the trades, or you had a problem with the guy who laid the tile in. I'm not paying you. He added a mechanic's lien against the house. Well, before we transfer the title from the old owner to the new owner, we've got to clear that up. That's one of the things we have to correct. So when you, the new homeowner, take that property, that guy is done. He cannot
Can't come after the new owner.
Correct.
Okay,
And
so-
if he does, then he gets to mess with us. So.
Okay. And you're Tony the Don.
That's right. That's
Got
right.
it. Okay.
Yes. I got a guy.
You got a
guy. Snap, the guy.
All right.
Problem disappears.
Exactly. Okay. So make them an offer they can't refuse.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So that's fun. So anyway, so as a realtor, when I go to write a purchase contract, and I specify that the title company that we use is Security Title, so I take that contract and all that information and what's the process that after I deliver it. for those of you that may not know, Tony's office there's a girl there named Susan Sowers.
A girl?
A lady, whatever.
Let's back that up.
A supervisor?
She's
A branch manager?
She's a branch manager.
A branch
ADP.
manager.
Okay.
Yes.
So start over.
Yes, mommy. So there's a supervisor that I work with out of your office, a lady by the name of Susan Sowers, who I'll put a personal plug in here, is like the guru of title.
Commercial and residential. She's amazing.
Yeah, I have yet to ever throw a problem at her that she hasn't been able to say, oh, that's no problem, I'll fix it. And then she does. It's like the woman is absolutely amazing. So anyway, that's one of the reasons I'm just throwing a plug
Next to
in
her
here.
crown, she has a little wand.
Yeah, a little
It's
magic
amazing.
wand.
Yes.
Just ding, and it's fixed. Anyway, so Susan, I take the contract to Susan and I hand it to her, and she is the one who then kicks off the actual process of doing whatever it is, the magic that you guys do. Okay?
So some of the documents that we're going to ask for both the buyer and the seller is, like the buyer, we're going to ask if it's a married couple, how you want to take title. Not everybody takes title the same way, and we're not supposed to. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about how you can take title.
That's right.
He was headed that way
Yes.
already, so I just interrupted.
That's
him. So
okay.
go ahead.
One of the a lot of people don't realize until after the fact, or usually until it's too late sometimes, as you know, because you guys get involved after the fact like we do. But going forward on that same conversation, some of the things that you're going to see happen throughout the process once we open title is we're going to send something to both the buyer and the seller. The things we're going to ask is how you'd like to take title. It's common that we take a married couple take title with right of survivorship. So if one passes, the other one the title takes over to the other one. There is no paperwork to draw, nothing, no fancy lawyers to get involved. I'm not going to get into trust and getting a trust, but I will say this: it never hurts to have a family trust. So check with your
Tax guy
and your lawyer,
Yeah.
or whoever does your taxes and other information.
Yeah.
If you have somebody who does. Plug to my buddy Gene Weinstein
Yeah,
there.
there you go. Okay. It's okay.
Thanks, Gene.
We're into plugs.
Thanks, Gene. He's always been a good guy.
Exactly.
Always helped us out. That being said, so once we figure out how you're going to take title, then we start to build that base file. So we know that you're going to be husband and wife with right of survivorship. There are many other ways to take title, and that's why when we send out that file, it's going to give you all the options to pick. We're not allowed to tell you which one to pick, but we can kind of point near it sometimes and give you an idea. And of course, you can talk to them about it, but again, we're not supposed to.
Right.
But that being said, I would say that's probably one of the most important things, because if people do it wrong, it only affects them after something happens, and then it's too late. Then, of course, you got to get a legal team involved, and there's probate and things like that.
And Tony mentioned, as a realtor, we just had a call from a lady that we had helped buy a house a few years ago, and her husband and she had taken title without that right of survivorship, and now they're embroiled in a it's a what's the term, goat rope, trying to get everything straightened
Absolutely.
out, and it's going to end up going into probate, which, for those of you who may not know, probate is the one thing that probates are really good at, is sucking all of the money out of your pocket before they get your deal settled. So
Kids from a previous marriage are after it.
yeah, so
Yeah, all the people who think they have
interest
in that property are going to come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, if you
Ex-wives.
have an ex-wife or kids from a previous marriage, or cousins twice removed from their uncle's father's brother or whatever. We've seen some crazy stuff in that kind of thing. So get legal advice if you're not sure which way you want to go. So,
Yeah, and the best advice, like you just said, if you already own a home and you're not sure how you're vested, you can reach out to Gail or Tim or whoever your local title person is, if you have one or if you know one, and find out how your house is vested. Check with your law contact. That's probably not the appropriate word.
legal person.
Yeah, check with your legal person.
Yeah.
And have them, and also check if you have someone who writes your wills and trusts, to make sure that it's updated. A lot of people don't update that.
Right.
And we find that to be a problem, again, later on after the fact.
And here again, I'll throw this plug in here. If you call me or Gail, the first thing I'm going to do is pick up the phone and call Tony. So there you go. Easy peasy for me. So,
and I'll go out and I'll pull all those documents
Yeah.
that are recorded, and we'll see where you're at.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're going to ask them for any other documents that may not be
Right.
recorded, like wills, trusts,
so if
handwritten things on napkins that show up in the middle of the day, which I've also seen.
Yeah. So if I do that and I find out that I need to change that
Vesting.
The vesting.
the vesting, how difficult is that?
I would say this: the easiest way is if we have an open file, we can make changes. In other words, if you have a file with us that is either refinance or sale or something, we can make that change for you really quickly and at no cost. It used to be we could do it at any time, and we used to put, no legal, but we still got sued. So now no title company will do it.
Yeah.
Which sprouted this new thing, which is legal document preparers. They're not lawyers, but they're pretty damn close. If you went to a lawyer, the person who did the paperwork would be the person you'd actually be hiring. So you're kind of cutting out the middleman, cutting the cost by a lot, and getting the same
legal service.
Yeah.
Okay.
So legal document preparer is great. And we've got a couple of different ones we use. So
Okay.
we
Cool.
always are ready.
Always got that in your hip pocket.
Yes.
Okay.
That's number
Sounds
one,
good.
quick.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Once we've got all the documents and everything prepared and we're ready to go, we get the mortgage companies. If there's a mortgage, it can be a cash deal. If it's a cash deal, it's pretty simple.
Yes. Cash is very fast.
Yeah. So
We can close a cash deal in as quick as 24 hours. I say knock on wood because assuming the world being a perfect environment,
provided the title search comes in clean and stuff like
and
that.
the HOA, if there isn't no HOA, even faster, but if there is an HOA and we can get them to respond,
Right.
we can knock that out pretty quick. But
Okay.
average is 5 to 7 days if you need it quickly. The average escrow goes about 45 days
Right.
currently right now, anywhere 30 to 45 days.
So assuming that we've got the HOA calmed down and we've got the mortgage people online and everything, once that's done, then we go to the close.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about what happens at closing.
Well, and this is interesting because it's different on both sides. If you're the buyer, it's all the loan documents after, if Patrick was sitting here, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But all the loan documents and all the hard work that Patrick put in, all the closing documents, the legal part that we create or Susan creates. I don't create it, I'm the marketing guy. I can't take credit for the hard work.
Yeah.
That's done by the people like Susan and Gloria. But we'll get that knocked out. Again, if they're a buyer, that's like 7 or 8 documents and you're done. Or I'm sorry, seller. If you're the buyer, it's all the loan documents, our closing documents. And then, of course, we're going to check all that, notarize everything, make sure everything's good, record it with the state. Once it's recorded, it's legal. You're all done and done. Get your keys. Have a nice day with it.
Okay. So recording is
we're going to take all those legal documents and we're going to scan them into what they call the tree. The tree is a system downtown at Phoenix, and where all the legal documents go. So if you were to go to maricopa.gov, you could go and search your name, search your address and different things and bring up all your legal documents that are recorded against that property.
sweet.
Or you could just call me and I'll send them all over to you. Mine are out of the actual documents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine don't say not real. Mine say real. And it matters sometimes, especially if you're working with a lawyer and you want to show documents. You don't have to pay the fee to have that all done. I'll take care of that for you.
Okay. All right. So what else can you tell us about your business and
Well, it's a very competitive business.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, and I'll tell you this because a lot of people don't know, earlier on when we were talking, we talked about how there are really just 2 major title insurers. There's Fidelity, which I'm under the F&F or Fidelity brand, so Security Title, Chicago Title, Anmaker, Lawyers Title. I mean, the list goes on. And you'll see some smaller companies that we actually resell to. So like an equity title or a Great American title, so a smaller company, they actually get their title insurance from us. So if you look at the title commitment, you'll see one of our logos at the top of that document. They're just a reseller of our product. So I'm never going to sell it to them cheaper than I would you.
Yeah. Okay. Talk about costs.
Cost. Okay, so let's talk about something better than cost, because the costs are pretty much the same as far as brands and all that goes.
Right.
But the most important part is discount.
Okay. Talk
I
about
like
discount.
discounts.
Tell me about a discount.
Okay.
Everybody-
Discounts to me
that's
are really
everybody's-
important.
That's everybody's favorite D word.
That is the word,
Discount,
discount. And let's be honest, it's the environment we're in, the economic situation we're in. 20%, 10%, 30%, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So example, we have what's called a first responder rate. Police, fire, medical, military. The reason I came to this company, my dad's a retired Air Force chief. You guys are retired Army.
Yep.
And that's
we still like it.
I know, right? And when you bring all those things, all those people together, they all have one thing in common: service to our country. And to me, that's the most important part. And they should get one of the highest available discounts. And that's what our company did. And that's one of the reasons my team moved here to begin with, was the fact that we offered such a high discount. Growing up a military kid, I remember my mom used to count all the dollars and dimes really closely. So it all mattered.
Yeah.
So that's one of our biggest discounts, most important to me. Other ones you'll see are there's a senior rate. Let's say you're over 65.
I don't know anybody in this room that's that.
I'm only 56,
Okay.
so you know. That being said, I'm not there yet, but I'm close. But we offer a senior rate, which to me is also important, because a lot of seniors are on a fixed income or don't always have the budget, but still want to be able to do a refinance to put themselves in a better economic situation.
Sure.
So we're going to make sure we extend that to them. And there's a lot of other discounts, but to me, teachers,
Yeah.
super important. They're underpaid,
especially in Arizona.
under-acknowledged.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, they're teaching our future to what's coming. And again, anything we can do for people that's how I met Bill, my friend Bill.
Yeah.
He was a teacher who got out of the industry and got into real estate, and we immediately hooked up. So we were able to give him a discount as well. Anything like that. So I guess my point is this: at the end of the day, if you're not sure what discount you fit in, check with your realtor or have them check with their title company to see which ones they offer. And we're going to try and find a place we can fit that person, because most people throughout their lives have done something that puts them in the appropriate box to give them a good discount.
Yeah.
And to me, that's important. And it makes people come back.
Yeah, we come back.
There you go.
So we're just about done with that, but let's my favorite closing gambit. Let's tell a war story. Without getting anybody in trouble or getting yourself in bind with the state or anything, tell me the craziest thing you've ever seen happen in your industry that you remember. You want me to start out with the craziest thing I saw in mine? Okay.
Yes, sir.
We several years ago, when the bad crash happened, they were doing all those crazy foreclosures. We were doing a lot of bank-owned properties, BPOs for bank-owned properties and stuff. We got sent out to
broker price opinion.
broker price opinion. That's where a bank or a credit union or a financial institution would call a realtor, and they would say, go to 123 Elm Street and look this house over and tell us what you think it's worth. So they gave us an address over in Wickenburg, and we drove over there. And we went to the address, and the lady that had talked to on the phone and told me there's a house there. We got there's no house, empty lot. So I figured, okay, they gave us the wrong address. So we drove back home, called them on the phone, and she's, no, there is a house there. We have a construction loan on that house. I have pictures of this house. And so I said, okay, so I went back out. Make a long story short, we went back out 2 or 3 times, and finally, I convinced her to go into her files, dig out her photographs, and send them to me. Okay? So I drove back out with the pictures of the house. Pull up to the lot. I've got the picture in front of me. There's a sign on one of those survey stakes with the number. There's the survey stake with the number. There's a phone box with a number. There's that phone box with the number. There's a mesquite tree. There's the mesquite tree. There's the house. There's no house on the lot. I'm like, holy cow. So I broke a rule. They say never talk to the neighbors when you're doing this thing.
That's right.
There's a neighbor across the street. I walked over and I knocked on the door and I introduced myself. I said, I don't want to bother you. I said, but I have to ask a question. I said, was there ever a house? And he says, yeah. This was in Yavapai County. A builder had gotten past the framing and the roofing, and they were in the process of insulating the property when a county inspector showed up and condemned the entire project and made them bulldoze it down. And I had the wonderful job of calling this lady on the phone and telling her that her company was holding paper for a house that did not exist. Literally did not exist. So that was that's my craziest war story. So now your turn, go. Beat that, will you?
Beat that, okay. Well, I have stories, but most of them, it's a family show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't say the S word that you're thinking of, the one that goes in front of show. Yeah, yes. There you go. So.
I would say this. The craziest story I have is, it was a Sun City house. The seller was approached by the buyer if they could put some things in the property that was vacant during the closing. The seller only agreed to allowing them to put the stuff in the garage against their own best judgment. The guy really pushed him. He says, all right, I'm going to let you put some stuff in the garage. That's it. One of the things he put in the garage was a gas grill. No problem. Well, the gas tank was on. Okay. The valve was off.
I know where this is going. Okay.
When he pushed it in, the line broke. The gas leaked out into the garage. We got a call literally from the seller minutes later from the buyer telling us to stop the recording. We were literally, it was in the tree being recorded. It was in line, and when it's in the tree, it's in line to be recorded with the state. And it was fully engulfed. When I say fully engulfed, I drove over there and watched the house burn the rest of the way down to the ground.
Yeah.
And game over. So a lot of people would say, okay, what is title? What's the title, people? What do you do in a situation like that? By the way, this has happened twice now.
Yeah.
Not once, twice.
And this is why, as we as realtors always tell our buyers and sellers, do not move into a house that you have not closed on.
Right. They're not trying to be the Debbie Downer. They're trying to save you from a lot of things.
So who's responsible?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is really great. We do not get to choose who's responsible. What we do at that point is we round up every document, every email, and it all goes into a box, and it goes down to our legal team. And then after that, we walk away.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this.
There are lawyers involved.
Amen.
Yep.
And it was 2.5 years to get from A to B.
Yeah.
The house was rebuilt. If I'm not mistaken, they called it a 50-50. Both people split it, literally, the cost right down the middle.
So what the insurance companies have to say, do you know?
I don't.
Yeah, I know. I've anecdotal stories. I know that we've seen insurance claims refused, and we've seen insurance claims paid.
Yes.
So it just kind of depends on whether your insurance guy's in a good mood or not, I guess, would be the way to phrase it.
The best way to not ever have the problem, don't do it.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's just like, well, how did you break your neck? Well, I got on my son's skateboard. Should you have been on that skateboard? No. Don't do it.
Don't do it. There you go. Yeah.
So, if your agent tells you something, they're telling you for a reason, either via experience, firsthand knowledge, like watching the house burn down was pretty exciting. You definitely don't want to experience that. I'm just glad nobody was there. It didn't jump to the neighbors' houses. I mean, there was a lot of pluses that turned out of a really bad situation. Nobody really lost anything major.
Except the house.
except the house. But your personal belongings
Sure.
weren't in it.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you had a chance to take everything out for a house burn, that would be
You're
a
going to,
godsend.
absolutely, well, maybe.
Yeah,
Depends.
some of the things.
Some of the
Some
things.
you'd leave in there. Like,
Yeah.
I need to do one of those anyway.
Pictures of my ex-girlfriend and hiding from my wife, that might be a good thing to put
That
out.
90-inch TV. I mean, was it 90? I thought it was like 120.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say that's the safest story I could tell, and it'd be played back somewhere.
Yep, okay. All right, well, contact info.
Contact info.
Tell how do we get a hold of you? if we want to
Yes. Well, I would say this: if you haven't Googled me, you haven't tried to find me. I do some side work for
Who are
Google.
you again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what my wife says. Why are you here? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're paying the bill.
Yeah.
I would say this again: Tony Scardina, Security Title. My direct number 602-793-4475.
Again,
602-793-4475. Or my email, first initial T, last name Scardina, SCARDINA @securitytitle.com.
We're going to put all this on a scroll at the bottom of the video.
Yes, it's
for
going to be
you.
right down there.
So, yeah.
So check that out. Or just Google me if you're really bored. And all those pictures you see, 90% will be me. There is a Tony Scardina who's a fire chief somewhere.
Don't look at me. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a fire. He comes up a lot. And there's another guy, I think he's a dentist. So I don't know. Apparently all the Tony Scardinas are really cool, not just me. It's just a general thing.
You lie. So, okay. All right. So, we're going to be doing these kind of discussions off and on for the next foreseeable future. So if you have any questions or any thoughts of anything you'd like to learn about that's involves the title industry or the real estate industry, and we're going to be bringing in some other folks or have already brought in, or
Lori Scardina next week.
yeah, as a matter of fact, your wife's going to come in.
Fidelity Home
Yeah,
Warranty.
she works for the home warranty company. She'll talk a little bit about how home warranties are, how they're bought, paid for, and what they do, and so on and so forth. So, we're starting this program to just kind of be an educational tool for folks that are looking, either you're a first-time home buyer or a move-up home buyer, or have just general real estate knowledge, so that you get an idea how the business works, and anytime you can learn anything, in my opinion, that's a good thing.
Right.
So there you go. So, and we have expertise that you can talk to. That's the main thing. So feel free to give us a call, give us a yell, send us a carrier pigeon, whatever your preferred means of communication is, and we will do our best to answer your questions. All right, Tony, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to
Appreciate
meet
it.
you again. So, is it Miller time yet?
It is.
It's Miller
Yeah,
time.
you got to say Miller time.
Miller time.
Miller time.
There you go. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, folks. Have a good one.